Hey everybody, it is Jillian. Happy Saturday. All Hallows Eve, Halloween Eve. We know Halloween really is tomorrow, but we know everyone's celebrating tonight. And I wanted to clarify about panspermia because some of you have noticed that post on my Facebook when someone melted the snow and looked the snow under a microscope and saw all these different types of entities. Okay. And so this is how Earth was seeded, was through those microscopic microbial entities they're also viral driven, and they definitely do influence someone's immune system. Now, I saw some of you react and say, oh God, I got to up my salt intake or up the jelly juice intake and still on the pink salt, which I'm like, whatever. I'm not going to argue with anyone. I'm giving people the opportunity of this information, so I'm not going to try to correct them. They're going to do what they're going to do. But those hydra and different microbial species are what is already part of your microbiome. The reason why people have parasitic infections and viral infections because they're on low sodium diets, but you don't want to be cured. You want to be able to adapt to the environment. Okay? And so I posted that because I want people to see that panspermia is a natural thing. Winds whip up soil, winds whip up dirt, snow carries everything from the stratosphere, ionosphere, troposphere, okay? And they get carried through the jet stream, they get carried through storms, hurricanes. When we get tornadoes or we get other types of storms from all the way across the globe, that's also how viruses travel. And of course, when you're burning bodies, like in India, when they were burning bodies, that goes into the atmosphere, into the jet stream or into whatever Gulf Stream, whatever streams of air that carries particles, and those particles then get carried to different continents, and then it rains down upon the people. And so you can't escape panspermia. Panspermia was the original theory. I forget the guy's name, but he coined that, and that also was with the Big Bang. So there's two different theories that actually can be conjoined: the Big Bang and then panspermia. The scientists of the past discounted panspermia, but I think now it's becoming more accepted because you can't stop microbes from traveling in their hosts. And then they could be in genetic material, they could be in different particles. You can't stop it, just like you can't stop a virus. Okay? So those hydras that you saw, whatever. I'm not saying now you have to up your intake of J juice so you can go and cure yourself and cure and melt the parasites, because that's what in the beginning when we first started the J juice, people were seeing when they were doing the waterfalls. They were seeing a lot of these parasites come out because, yeah, people had parasitic infections. They're on low sodium diets. They're being diagnosed with all these conditions because of an unbalanced microbiome. And your microbiome are viruses, parasites, protozoa, proteins, fungus, and bacteria. And so when you have an imbalance in any one of those, you're going to see that be released initially when you first do the J juice. Doesn't mean that you're trying to kill off anything in your body, because then you start destroying yourself. Parasites need a host, and guess what? You're the host. So you want to balance, you'll be able to balance out your system and regulate it so that way the immune system can kick out anything that's anomalous and keep what is predominant and still adapt to your current atmosphere, whether it's snow, rain, wind, heat, spring weather, stormy weather, whatever. You're supposed to adapt to your geographical location, not put yourself in a cured state like they did in the beginning, which is why you have all these different factions and different skin colors, because people were not evolving to the climate if they were to go and be mobile. So if you were from the northern climate in like the Netherlands and then you wanted to travel to Africa, people were, I'm sure, were doing a bunch of salt along with stuff from biotech to keep them in a cured state so they don't start creating more melanin to adapt to that equatorial region that has more sun exposure. And so people were in a cured state, but they also didn't last more than 100 years. I mean, lately, we've been seeing the last little bits of the silent generation potentially, or even before that, die off around 109, 110. Okay? And so you don't want to be in a cured state. You want to be able to adapt to those hydras. You want to be able to adapt to those panspermia. Okay? And so my husband got a taste. We were at Walmart today, and Walmart was crowded today. This is the day before Halloween. So everyone's partying tonight. So they're all out there, and it was crowded. I mean, it was like standing room only. It was insane how crazy Walmart was today. And so it was like shoulder to shoulder people, potentially. I was walking I was going upstream, and everyone was facing me. I'm not wearing a mask because now I know what it's like not to wear a mask. I'm just going to feel the heat. So before we went to Walmart, we were at an appliance place like a Home Depot or like a Lowe's, and we had to go get something from there, and we ate off of like a food truck. As soon as after we both ate, my husband felt the heat. He felt like heat rising. I'm like he felt a hot flash. So my husband now understands what it's like to feel a hot flash, because we both felt it right after we both ate. I ate faster than him because I was so hungry, and I'm just like mowing like really fast, drinking my Diet Coke because they didn't have any regular Coke. And we both felt the heat. And then afterwards we went to Walmart, and we were wall-to-wall people, and he was feeling the heat in there. He was feeling a little bit of acid reflux like he initially felt when the COVID first came around in 2020. And he actually had to go to the hospital because he thought he was having a heart attack. And that's when the COVID was still pretty new, but people were kind of denying it. It was like at the fall, it was 9/11 actually of 2020, where he had the first real taste of the COVID. And he said he fell out. He fell off the truck when he first started a job, but he didn't want to turn that in. And it was right before we had health insurance, so we paid like $2,000 for him to go to the ER. And so, right, Christine, of course, yes. And so, anyways, so he felt that first, feeling of like acid reflux, and then whatever, and then hasn't, from what I've noticed, hasn't felt that like that since. But this was the first time that when we were in Walmart, he said he was feeling like really dizzy. And I noticed somebody else that's on my Facebook that lives in the same area felt like she could not stand up straight. Like her equilibrium was off. She was so dizzy, she had to actually call off, because I'm watching people's Facebooks in my area just to see how people are reacting. And so there's definitely a variant that's going around here. I mean, I'm hearing sirens. I mean, I'm on my Facebook, and I'm here, and we're outside doing something, and I'm hearing sirens, and I'm just like, what's going on outside? Jason's like, yeah, the sirens have been going off exponentially. Odds the same here, felt it in my ears a couple of nights ago, unbelievably, yeah, hot. It's the viral transducers. And so I felt a little bit of heat when I was in Walmart, and I was really thirsty, so I had to go get some Aquafina, and he had to go get a Monster, because that's what kind of kept him, in equilibrium. And it passed, okay? And so it wasn't as bad as it was back in 9/11 of 2020. So it's interesting. It's almost maybe a year and a month later that he felt the same thing. That's really just a trip, because I remember 9/11, I mean, we were at somebody's wedding rehearsal, and I had to go and jet over to the hospital, and I'm just like, oh my God, thinking that he was going to, pass away, because a lot of people were passing away in 2020, and there was still more scare of it. But I'm telling you, this virus is insane. I can handle it now. All it is just heat to me now. All it is just hot flashes and sweating, and that's it. I'm not coughing up. I mean, I hack up a bunch of mucus sometimes. Not like a bunch, like globs of it, but like, you've heard me, clear my throat and feel kind of scratchy or have a thick voice because I hadn't cleared my throat that morning. But now the COVID-19 and whatever variants that are out there, it's just viral transducers causing hot flashes, causing just a rise in heat. And it's a tingly heat. It's not just like, okay, I get a flush. No, I could feel it in my whole body. It's like sparkly feeling. It's like if you can look at the sparkles on the memes and then you feel the sparkles. Oh, here's my husband. Hold on a second. Hold on. Sorry. So anyways, and so now it's just a heat. So now it's just a heat. I don't get all that mucusy stuff. I don't have to cough deep coughing. Okay, maybe like I had a little thing right here on the side of my nose that I was picking, like it was really like a hard crust, like on the top. And so things are getting pushed out. I'm feeling definitely more energetic, more intense in my intentions. I'm more aggressive in my intentions. Now I have no problem saying what I have to say without, I don't feel like I have to sugarcoat anything. Pardon the pun, given we talk about sugar coating, CODING or COATING. So now he's understanding what it's like to feel the heat. Okay? He's not doing the J juice. I don't even know what it means now for him. If he were to do like a bunch of waterfalls now and then feel stuff, he would be feeling a lot of back pain. So I'm sure he says he feels back pain now, but at this point, from what I'm seeing, even though we're feeling the same symptoms like heat and all that, he's still going to age with the atmosphere unless he starts getting probiotics in his body, which he's not going to do unless he does a few waterfalls and releases some of the stuff in his colon, because I know he has a lot of impacted crap in his colon, but I can't get him to do that. So he's just gonna he's still going to be fluid with the atmosphere, but the atmosphere is gonna be that much more aggressive. So it will age him faster, but he's fine with that. And so, but he knows he has to deal with the pain. He knows he has to still feed his body. He knows he has to do whatever. And so if he didn't know about J juice, he would think that the only thing that, he would think that, okay, it's old age setting in. That's what these symptoms are. If no one knew about the J juice and no one knew about this virus, that's what he would chalk up his symptoms to, is the fact that he's maybe meeting some of the predispositions that's in his family line. So I'm going to I'm not going to worry about him too much. He will get through whatever, but at least now I know how my body's going to react to the COVID now that we're deep in October, almost November. And I've been in 2 crowded places without a mask, and I didn't have to feel like I'm so lethargic the next day. Maybe I had to sleep in a few times. Maybe I'm a little bit tossing and turning and feeling the heat, but that's it. Okay? And so some of you with predispositions are going to feel a lot more stuff. You'll feel the heat too. Like I know Odd Stewart, you're feeling the heat. Christine, Kylie, you're feeling the heat. And so that also will be coupled with anything else that you haven't healed in the past that needs to be regenerated and also be aligned with this new viral programming. Because, I don't think, Christine and Odd, you've taken the vaccine, so you're not fighting against a programming that's stopping your evolution. So if you're welcoming the evolution, by all means. I bought a bunch of chimichangas, okay? And so I'm going to eat those for the most part. And that's a real good, what we call it, it's a complete data pack of the nutrition. And with my little mandarin oranges and then my milk with my cereal, that's really all I really need at this point. And I do have some chicken, but what the body needs is protein. The body needs meat, milk, cheese, eggs, obviously protein, carbs, okay, fruits and vegetables. I have frozen broccoli. And I also have top ramen. And I will be adding more salt to my processed food. I will be adding salt. I do add salt to my coffees. Okay. With the cream, I have cream. And so it's going to be extremely easy now to feed yourself when you know you need those things, and you can get some of these advanced data packs. So I had to look up where you were the other night because they sound so good. Can't buy them here, so I'm going to try and make them. Chimichurri, El Monterey, they might have something close to that it's a Mexican burrito, basically. It's a burrito that has beans, Okay, so you get the refried beans. Maybe you take some pulled pork or some or beef, like stringy beef. Okay, and you string it up, and then you also add in, you can do American cheese mixed with some Hispanic Mexican cheese that it's easily meltable, and you put that in a burrito. But then the burritos also, I think, either fried up because it's a little bit oily, so the tortillas need to be, you know, a bit more oily, because it's the whole package, because it's difficult. I don't like eating regular tortillas that haven't been processed. Okay, I like processed tortillas because they add more of the soybean, they add more of the oils that you need. And so these are all the main nutrients to really absorb the viral shock waves. And you have nutrients on reserve when you're dealing with new viral variants, when your body heats up utilizing resources. Okay? So that right there with some milk, I bought a bunch of like Life cereal and oat bran squares, oat squares from Quaker Oats, and rice checks. And then I bought, then of course, that fish for my dog. So I added that with any leftovers. Like I have leftovers meat and spaghetti sauce, and like ground up beef. And I also have like some pasta and some chicken with some cheese and broccoli that's left over. And then I add a little fish, and then to her kibble. And so she gets a complete, like diverse nutrition as well, because she has to go through these viral shock waves as well. And so mainly it's just keeping up with your body's resources and making sure that you have enough on reserve, so when you do get exposed, you have enough nutrients at your disposal so you can get through every level of viral transducers. But if you've been on the J juice the last 4 years and you haven't gotten off the J juice and you're using it as a cure, you're gonna turn into the Crypt Keeper. I'm telling you guys, some of you, I know I posted that hydra thing, so I want you to understand I didn't say panspermia, but I wanted to see who was going to respond. And not that I really want to see, I wanted to post that to show people that, yes, stuff is in the air. You can't stop it. Now people think it's nefarious. Like the person that originally posted that or reposted from somebody else is very much against the New World Order. Very much against the powers that be, that thinks that there's a lot of nefarious stuff going on. And potentially there could be, could not be, but it doesn't even matter. Okay? I don't even think it's really anything nefarious. I mean, now the chemtrails in the sky, we hear about exotic spores and different elements, like different minerals that maybe be released because they're either reflecting the sun's rays back, or they're geoengineering the weather, so they're drying up one atmosphere and making another atmosphere colder or wetter. You know, there's probably a bunch of science, and then someone else has said like exotic spores, and it could be the hydra, it could be different viral variants in different hosts. Okay, I mean, we know about the 10 plagues of Egypt, pestilence, you know, the blood in the water, the firstborn. I mean, Google the 10 plagues of Egypt, and it's going to be everything that you probably ever heard about that people are dealing with on some level. Okay, and it doesn't mean that it has to happen to you. The 10 plagues are for those that are violating the laws of their body, and so they're going to fall victim to the 10 plagues of Egypt. I mean, this is somewhat biblical, but somewhat not, because the Bible is very biased relative to the one God that led the Jews out of Egypt, and it's a Judeo-Christian Bible. Even though the Christians look at the New Testament, the Old Testament is still very much credible even in the Christian religion. Even though there's a New Testament, that's just everything that happened after Deuteronomy, or that's the fifth book. Okay, I think that's what it is. Where is it? Exodus? Oh no, Genesis, Exodus, and it is Numbers and Deuteronomy, and there's some, I don't know all the names of it, but I think Deuteronomy is the last one, but maybe not. But just think of Exodus. And right now we're in the world of Exodus, if you really want to put it biblically. Okay, because we are run by those that were that worshipped the one god out of 7 of the Sumerian pantheon. And then we have the Greek system, the Greek classification system, the Greek caste system that then bioengineered humans for their specific jobs, for their specific economic areas, for obviously their geographical location. I mean, someone in California would have to really adapt, and I did. I went through several evolutions when I came here from California to adapt to the level of this atmosphere, and I was extremely sick. I was evolving. I didn't know that's what I was doing. I was like, I was sick, but really I was evolving. Okay. And so, and then when we went from Ohio to Florida in the winter months, when him and his dad went off to some kind of like Talladega or NASCAR or something over there down there in South Florida on the Atlantic coast, I let them go hang out, and I was home with his stepmom, and I was so sick I couldn't even leave my room. I was so sick. My husband is very cured. He's built like a brick shit house. He was made for the outdoors and made for Ohio. He's one of the main type of Ohioan boys that did all the labor intensive work. So he's so acclimated to hard work, heat, and cold. So he's just easily adaptable, but he will definitely have a lifespan unless he changes his programming. But no, I am highly evolutionary because I had PMDD, first of all, which is evolutionary in the uterus. And that's basically, evolution symptoms. But it got in the way of being in a cured state to actually do a job and stay with a company for like years and years and years. And so, yeah, I was looked down upon because I could never stay with a company because I was always calling in sick once a month because I was fucking sick. I was evolving. So I'm always highly sensitive to new environments because I am constantly evolving to the new mainframe everywhere I go. And people cause the mainframe. Okay? If you didn't have people, then it would just be whatever the wind carried into an environment and whatever the animals and the vegetation were. But people are what creates the environment. And what they give off is what creates the environment. And you have to adapt to people. You must. And so I stopped wearing a mask because I knew that I could handle the environment. It just took me a while. But how I know I've caught like another variant and had to upgrade to the level of the people that I just left is the heat. The hot flashes and the heat. And you have to keep feeding the heat. You cannot starve yourself. Nobody can afford to be on a diet now. Nobody can afford to be taking their antibiotics. You start killing life in your body, you're depleting yourself at the micro level. And so the environment will cannibalize you, you will destroy yourself, and then also your lifestyle will as well. And so people are going to be partying up a storm because there's so much energy that those that mean to party that the atmosphere is going to cannibalize them double, triple, quadruple more than what it was before the COVID-19. That's what people don't understand, is this energy is going to accelerate your intentions and accelerate your belief system. So if you believe you should live indefinitely, then you have to deal with the evolutionary symptoms. And you can't be afraid of them. You can't be afraid of the panspermia. You can't be afraid of the economical changes. You can't be afraid of anything. Just know what you can live on if there wasn't a lot of food. Like my husband can live off of top ramen because he'll be in the truck for a couple of days out of the week. He can live on top ramen, off of the processed food, the microwave dinners, his coffee. He has sugar and all that stuff. I can live off very minimal too. So that way, if restaurants go out of business and the supply chains slow down, at least there's some American food that I can live on. And even if it's canned beans and rice and cheese and tortillas, I could do that every single freaking day. And I could live off of the canned meat for my dog, canned fish, and her kibble, and then some milk and some cereal. We're good. And, maybe some tangerines for the vitamin C, because it does break up, mucus a little bit. Not you want to break it up all the time. But every night, my body wants to have some kind of orange, some kind of citrus. Okay, so you need a balanced diet, but it doesn't have to be so exotic that you have to go to Whole Foods and spend $3,000 on 5 things, and you're like, oh yes, this is imported from this place because it has all these different types of. No, we're not playing the hoity-toity. I have my Whole Foods organic shit. Those are the people that are starving in our society, and they're going to go out faster than those that live in the middle of America. Speaking from American, that live on meat, milk, cheese, eggs, processed foods, McDonald's, and have strong vital organs. Because if you have weak vital organs, processed food's going to kick your ass because you won't be able to handle it. That's too much energy and too much data for your body to handle. That's why that lady earlier, who actually, Andrea Fultz, nothing against her, but she's made a business out of her stuff, out of her healing stuff, right? She's one of many. But the whole diet stuff and playing that game, it's a business of just, well, anyways, I got off on a tangent. So anyways, we're not playing that game of the diets. Those that are playing those games, they're going to be going out faster because there's nothing to them. And those in middle America that have strong hearts will withstand all this. Okay? So, I'm done. I just wanted to give you a little synopsis. I mean, you're going to see my whole process of how I'm dealing with this environment. And I'm not doing J juice anymore, okay? I'm off the J juice. And I haven't even done a shot. I just have a high salt diet. I poop every single day. I definitely have some boobs. I have a belly. Not a huge one, but I have a little bit of a belly. I have thighs. I have a butt, and I have hair, and I look like those statues that aren't emaciated, at the Vatican. Because when I was talking about the Vatican earlier, and I was talking about the statues, and then I went off on a tangent. I'm like, Jesus, Jillian. But those statues were the original Sumerian pantheon, then graduated to the Greek pantheon, and the humans that were bioengineered by the original gods and then turned into a Greek classification, and then also gave clues to Socrates and Plato and Aristotle, the logic and reasoning. They weren't skinny mini. They weren't overly obese either. I think my husband's home. Or not. No. Oh, I heard something. Anyways, so they aren't skinny mini. They don't weigh next to nothing. And they weren't, like, they didn't look all too elderly either. Like those statues, they look like somebody in their mid 30s, 40s, 50s. Maybe they did look older, I don't know. But they weren't super skinny and they weren't super obese. Okay? So you've got to be somewhere in the middle. If you weigh next to nothing, good luck. You're gonna be cannibalized by everybody. If you weigh next to nothing, you will be cannibalized. So you cannot afford to starve. You must eat the meat, milk, the cheese, the eggs, the fruits, the vegetables, the proteins, the fats, the oils. I have Crisco. I've been using Crisco instead of olive oil. See, the whole jelly juice diet, done with. There are no bad oils. Okay? So I have Crisco. I mean, you're like, oh my God, you're going to have a heart attack. No, I have a high sodium diet. See, low sodium diet, high fat, there's no activity. You're going to just be one big blob of oil. The salt is what regulates it all. Too much salt, you'll be in a cured state and you'll look like the Crypt Keeper. Not enough salt, you'll be like gelatinous, Jabba the jellyfish. There's got to be a balance, and you have to deal with pain, and you have to deal with symptoms, and you can't be afraid of the environment. And you got to feel pain yet again. And the headaches are something crazy if you haven't dealt with the headaches yet. But you feed the red meat to the headaches. You need to feed your brain. The food and the viruses are what's going to increase your intelligence. If not, then you'll be in fear. Just like scared dogs that are starving in the streets. They're in fear and they attack. Odd Stewart says, I've gained substance too, loving it. Only have the odd tiny shot of juice to help the mucus move about when dealing with a lot of, and it's thick and painful. Sometimes feel stuck, getting easier. Okay, you gotta do what you gotta do, Odd. You gotta do what you gotta do. I understand. Okay? Getting easier and less now. I have felt every inch of it though. Wow. Yeah, you do. I mean, you do what you gotta do. I did the 2 shots when I first got exposed to the COVID respiratory side. I did the 2 shots because I was like, I don't know what to expect. I was totally out of my element. And then I stopped, and I just stopped it. You know, I didn't take any more shots because I wanted to cough so hard. And I did. I remember coughing so hard, like having the pain spasms. I saw stars and had, muscle spasms at one point, saw stars. Yeah, 1,000 points of light. George H. Bush was right about the 1,000 points of light. That's the energy. That's the intelligence. Those are the viral energy that you're seeing, like you're in when you're in so much pain and you squeeze your eyes so tight in the middle of the night and your body's like arching in pain, you've just entered into the universe. That's like where your body just like goes out and then it snaps back in and then you're feeling okay. So when you feel pain like you've never felt and no one's hurting you or stabbing you or whatever, you will gain another level of awareness of, I'm telling you, you'd be just like, whoa, that was trippy. This is not like doing drugs. This is not ayahuasca, whatever. This is not playing with the psychedelics. Pain is a psychedelic, but pain gets you further into life. Pain is life. Drugs are just playing with your hormones and you're like, I've seen God and whatever. And drugs just makes you play with all that stuff and then it cannibalizes you. No, pain is the ultimate drug that will help you, that will keep you alive. And so that's the energy that people don't understand. So, and most people will not. And so that's only a few will understand this. Only a few. And that's probably the intention. Thank God this was rolled out from 2016 because I'm like telling my husband, I can't even imagine rolling this out in 2020. And with all the court shit that I was going through with trying to write stuff, dealing with all the, I am so happy the JG's mentality was invented prior to the 2020. Because I could not imagine trying to roll this out today. There's no freaking way I would not be able to. There was no way. There'd be no way. I would have been lost over the freaking hill, just freaking out. The virus would have kicked my ass, given that I already had issues. And who the hell knows what would, I don't even want to think about what life would have been like if I hadn't discovered the JJ in 2020. Oh my God. I'm serious. I dodged a bullet. You all that's been around since 2016 and on and off, if you understand and have evolved with me, you dodged a bullet too. So thank your lucky stars. Somebody in the universe was looking out for all of us. And thank God you guys stuck around. And thanks, Odd Stewart, for sticking around. Thanks for all of you sticking around. Okay, bye.